factor tree.
That's right. So you start with 2. 2 times what number gets you to 32?
Okay, 16.
16. And then you try 2 again, 2 and
2 and 8.
good. Then 2 and
2 and 4.
good. And then 2 and 2.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay. Now you circle pairs. See how there's a pair of 2s and a pair of 2s?
Yeah.
So for each pair, you're going to bring one out. So you're going to bring a 2 out and a 2 out.
Yep. So you just have to take 2 times 2 times 4 times 2 times 2 times
And then what's left over?
11 over 32.
No, see what's left over here, this other 2?
2.
So it becomes 4 square root 2.
4 square root of 2. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So that is the hypotenuse. Okay. So your hypotenuse is 4 square root 2. Okay. All right. Let's try another one here. So here's another triangle. Just going to draw it slightly differently. The legs are 3 and 3. And then the hypotenuse is C. Hypotenuse is C. So we've got A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
Yep. That right there. A squared is 3. B squared is 3. That equals C squared.
Okay. So it's 9 plus 9.
9 plus 9 is 9 plus 9 is 18.
Okay. 18 equals C squared. So you're going to take the square root of 18. Can you do that for me, please?
Yep. Divide that one. Okay. Yep. Right there. First of all, you have to use 2. 2 times 9.
That's right. But give me the final answer, Sourish.
Okay.
Something square root something.
Nine square root of 3.
Okay, so what is 9 reduced to?
9 reduces to 3.
3 and 3. So you circle the pair. See how there's a pair of 3s? So 3 goes on the outside, 2 stays on the inside.
Yep.
Okay, so it's 3 square root 2. 3 square root 2.
Yeah. 3
So this is
square root
3
2.
square root 2. Okay. Let's look at another one here and see if we can notice a pattern. Okay. So here's another triangle. Let's say this is 6 and 6. I want you to find a C, please. A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
Okay. Now right there, 6 squared plus 6 squared equals C squared.
Yep, go ahead and work that out.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
It's 6 square root of 36.
Okay, really close. I mean, you're on the right track here. I think we might have to review reducing roots, but this is 36 plus 36. 72 equals c squared. So we're going to take the square root of 72. Okay,
Mhm.
so it's 2 and 36. Is 36 divisible by 2? Can 36 be divided by 2?
Yes, yes.
2,
16.
18. Is 18 divisible by 2?
18 divisible by 2. Yes, it's 9.
Okay. Is 9 divisible by 2?
9 divisible by 2.
Yes.
9 divisible by 2. No.
Is it divisible by 3?
Divisible 3. Yes.
3 and 3. Now, when you
Yes.
look at this list, the 2, the 2, the 2, the 3, and the 3, are there any pairs?
Are there any pairs?
Yes, are there any pairs?
3 and 9.
You're looking at the outside, Sourish.
Oh, yes. 3 and 2. 3 and 2.
There's a pair of 3s and a pair of 2s.
Yes.
What do you do with the pairs? Do they go out or stay in?
Stay in.
No, they come out.
Come out. Okay. I'm just yawning. That's why.
What number stays in on that list that we haven't circled? What number have we not circled?
Three and 2.
Sometimes I feel like you're not looking at my screen.
I'm just looking. I'm just thinking about this. 3 and 3.
I-
2 and 2.
I'm asking which number is not circled.
2 and 9.
Yes, 2. No, on the outside. It's on the outside of the list. This stays in.
Okay.
This stays in. So it's 2 on the outside, 3 on the outside, square root of 2. Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay, so I'm going to summarize the 3 triangles that we have done thus far. All right. Actually, let me go back and look, make sure I got the right numbers. Okay, so here's the first triangle we did. The sides, the legs were 4 and 4, the hypotenuse was 4 square root 2. Then we did legs of 3 and 3, hypotenuse 3 square root 2. Then we did one that was 6 and 6, hypotenuse was 6 square root 2. Do you see a pattern?
I see a pattern. I see the pattern in there. The pattern in there. What I was thinking that the pattern looks a lot like the same.
Well, yes, but can you tell me in words what the pattern is?
The pattern is for what we discussed earlier.
I'm asking if you see a pattern from the 2 numbers that are on the side, the legs to the hypotenuse, 2 numbers on the legs to the hypotenuse, 2 numbers on the legs to the hypotenuse. Do you see a pattern here, Sourish?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking like
Let me try and help here. 4, 4, 4.
Mhm.
And then there's this other thing, square root of 2. Let's try it again here. 3, 3, and then 3, and then square root of 2. Do you see a pattern yet?
Yes. Yes.
Can you tell me in your own words what the pattern is?
6 squared.
How are we getting the number on the hypotenuse from the two legs?
Well, okay, all right. Okay. For that, right? Okay. I think what you need to do is that for the hypotenuse, you need to be able to use 6 squared times 6 squared.
What do you mean by that?
And the hypotenuse is squared 2 times. It's like squared 2 times, such as long as it's each leg.
Do you see that the same number is on the hypotenuse as the leg? There's a 4, a
Yes.
4, and a 4. And then what's
Yeah,
with it?
it's
What
leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse.
that's true, but there's a shortcut. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And then how about this middle one? Do you see that the same number that's on the leg is also up here in the hypotenuse?
Yes.
Okay. And you see that the same number that's on the legs is also in the hypotenuse.
Yes.
And
Leg are the normal numbers, but equals hypotenuse.
times the square root of 2.
Yes.
Okay, so here, let me give you a new problem here. Let me see if you can tell me the answer. Let's say the legs are 5 and 5. What goes on the hypotenuse?
5 hypotenuse squared.
Square root 2.
Mm-hmm.
Say that out loud for me. 5 square root 2.
5 square root of 2.
Good. Now, let's say the two legs are 8 and 8. What goes on the hypotenuse?
8 square root of 2.
Good. Last one here. Let's say the legs are, let's go 2.5 and 2.5. What's the hypotenuse?
2.5 square root of 2.
Very good. Okay. Now this also works going backwards. Do you have these down in your notes?
Yeah, it's in my thing.
Are you sure you wrote this down?
Let me write that. Do I have to write all these things down?
Well, I mean, you should write some of them down. That might help.
Okay. Let me just write a triangle. My pencil is not good. I'm just writing it. Okay, got it down.
Okay, so here's a new problem for you to look at. Let's say the leg is 10 and 10. What is the hypotenuse?
What is the hypotenuse? 10 square root of 2.
Very good. Now this is the harder problem. Let's say I tell you that the hypotenuse is 16 square root of 2. What are the legs?
16.
And
16.
very good.
Why?
Okay.
Why would you say it's hard? It's easy.
Okay, that's good. Let's try another one here. Let's say it is 1/2 and 1/2. What is the hypotenuse?
1/2 square root of 2.
Very good. Okay, now there's another variation on this problem, which is what if the leg is 5 square root 2 and 5 square root 2? Okay, we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem on this one. 5 square root of 2 squared plus 5 square root of 2 squared equals c squared. How do you square this part inside parentheses? Do you remember that?
How do you use square? Yeah, I think what you need to do is use 5 squared, like 5 squared, and then you make it like 5
2
squared times 2.
That's right. So it's 50. 5 squared is 25 times
Times 2
2.
is 50.
Okay,
50 plus 50 equals 100.
okay. So,
And the square root of 100 is 10.
that's right. So C is 10.
Yep.
So the question is, how do you go from 5 square root 2 to 10? Okay, like
5
imagine
square
you
root of 2 to 10.
imagine you don't do this on the right. How do you go from 5 square root 2 to 10? It's the answer is it's the same thing you did here. You multiply by the square root of 2.
Okay.
So let's look at that. Is 5 square root of 2 times the square root of 2, does that equal 10?
Does that equal 10? 5 square root of 2. Does that equal to 10?
Yes.
No.
Let's try it. Let's look at it together.
No, it's because you need to have another, or you need to have like the same one we did in the previous.
What is the square root of 4?
Square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2.
What is 5 times 2?
5 times 2 is 10.
So it
I
does
thought
work.
we're talking about the square root of 10.
We're talking about how to go from the leg to the hypotenuse. Okay, so here's your simple answer. Leg to hypotenuse, okay, you're going to multiply by the square root of 2.
By the square root of 2. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
get this down in your notes, please.
Leg to, okay. Yep. So, okay.
Do you have this down in your notes?
Let me just write this. Wait a minute. I'm writing this down.
Great.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so let's say I give you a triangle and the side is 4 square root 2 and 4 square root 2. The two legs are 4 square root 2. So how do you go from the leg, Sourish, to the hypotenuse? What is the math operation?
The math operation.
Yes, what am I circling here? What do you do to go from the leg to the hypotenuse? You said you just wrote this down.
Yes, you have to multiply by 2 squared to get to the hypotenuse.
Square root of 2, square root of 2.
Square root of 2. Thanks. Sorry about that.
Okay, so what are you going to do here? What are you going to multiply the leg by?
Multiply the leg by you have to multiply the leg by square root of 2.
That's right.
By
So
4.
4 square root of 2 times the square root of 2.
What? Okay.
Well, the leg, this is the leg, and you're multiplying it by,
Then you're multiplying by you're multiplying by 2 by square root of 2. 4
okay,
squared.
it's not 4 squared, it's 4 times the square root of 4.
Yeah, I have to always remember that, and my computer's about to die.
Go grab your charger and let me know when you're back.
Okay, I'm back. I my charger's with me at all time.
Is your computer plugged into is your charger plugged into the wall and the,
Yep, it's now plugged in the wall.
okay, does it show that it's charging?
Yes, it is charging.
Okay, 4 times the square root of 4. What is the square root of 4?
2.
So it's 4 times 2, which is,
8.
okay, so you take the leg, whatever the leg is, and you multiply it by the square root of 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's
And
a new part.
then that's 8. So it's a squared plus b squared equals c
No,
squared, right?
that works, but we're not doing that right now because this is a shortcut. This is a special triangle.
Okay.
Okay, so how do you go again, Sourish? How do you go from the leg to the hypotenuse?
How do you multiply the leg to the hypotenuse? Well, for example, you have to find out the square root. When you for example, when you multiply a number to the square root of 2, you need through the square root of something, you need to be able to find what the square root is, and then you have to multiply it.
You have to multiply by the square root of 2. It's very simple. Just follow the simplicity of it. Multiply by the square root of 2.
Yep. Right.
So how do you go from the leg to the hypotenuse? I'm asking you, what do you do to go from the leg to the hypotenuse?
You just have to multiply by by the square root of 2.
Very good. Okay,
Multiply by the square root of 2. Multiply by the square root of 2.
exactly. Here's a new problem. Let's say the leg is 20 and the other leg is 20. How do you get the hypotenuse?
The leg is 20 and I told you it's 20 square root of 2.
That's right. Now, let's say it's 9 square root of 2, 9 square root of 2. How do you go from the leg to the hypotenuse?
Nine squared, 9 squared. For that right there, you should be able to use what the square is for 2.
You have to multiply by the square root of 2.
Yet the square root of 2 is nothing.
It's not nothing.
There's nothing for the square root of 2. What does it equal to the square root of 2?
You multiply the leg. Do you agree that the leg is 9 square root of 2? You multiply by the square root of 2.
Okay. 9 squared is
It's not squared. It's 9 times the square root of 4. Square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is square root of 4.
okay. So 9 times 4, right?
What is the square root of 4?
2. 9 times 2 is 18.
18. Very good. Okay, let's try another couple here. (15 square root 2, 15 square root 2). I want you to find the hypotenuse, please. Find the hypotenuse.
Okay. The hypotenuse.
This is just like the previous ones.
Yes, that is 60.
You're just guessing. You're not doing
I know I got the first one right. I got it right.
that is not the correct answer. And if you need me to, I can go back up and we can look at the previous one, but you have to follow every step that's here. Every step in this triangle. What did we do first? What did
50
we write?
times 2, that's 30.
That's true, but that's not the
Yeah, it is.
what is your final answer?
30.
Okay, the answer is 30. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's try another one here. Let's say it is 8. What is the hypotenuse?
8 square root of 2.
Very good. Okay. Now I'm going to just copy this down. All right. So we wrote that if you go from the leg to the hypotenuse, you multiply by square root of 2. So if you want to go backwards from the hypotenuse to the leg, how do you undo multiplication?
How do you undo multiplication? Yes, you should how do you undo multiplication? You should be able to divide.
Divide by the square root of 2. Yeah, exactly. So let's look at an example here. Let's say the hypotenuse, we've got at 10 square root 2, 10 and 10. So to go from the hypotenuse to the leg, we're going to divide by the square root of 2. What is 10 square root of 2 divided by the square root of 2?
10 divided. Okay. Yes. All right. Okay. 10 divided by square root of 2. That's going to be 5.
Try again. What is in the same on the top and the bottom?
10 square root of 2 divided by square root of 2.
What is the same? They're the same, so they cancel. What is left over?
10.
Is that the value of the leg?
Yeah.
So how do you go from the hypotenuse to the leg, Sourish? How do you go backwards? Hypotenuse to leg. What do you do?
Divided by square root of 2.
Good. Okay, let's try a new problem here.
Okay.
This is the hypotenuse. What are the legs? What are the values of the legs?
The values of the legs. Okay. Value. Okay, that is 15 and 15.
You got it. Okay, now a harder one. Let's say the hypotenuse is 14. How do you
Okay.
find the legs?
14. That is 14. 14. Oh, wait a minute. 14. 14 square root of 2.
How do you, let's go back and look at the picture. How do you go from the hypotenuse to the leg?
Divide. You have to divide. Oh my
Okay,
god.
so you have to divide. So it's 14
Divided by 2.
divided by the square root of 2.
Yeah, and that is 7.
It's not 7. You can't just make up things up like that. Did you hear this in class where you have to rationalize?
Rationalize. Okay. So let me. Okay.
Did you
Should
hear
I
that in class?
but I thought we're dividing 14 divided by 2. It can't be.
That's not what we wrote. We wrote divide by the square root of 2.
That is 4.
No, you're mixing these up. So Sarish, 2 and the square root of 2 are very different.
Okay.
Do you have a calculator?
Yeah, I have a calculator.
Put the square root of 2 in your calculator and tell me the approximation.
Square root. What is the square root of 2? It's 1.
It's not 1, it's a decimal.
It said that in my calculator. Square root of 2 approximately 1.41.
That's right, 1.41.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say I could give you 2 candy bars, or I can give you 1.41 candy bars. Which is greater? Or are they the same? Are
2
they,
is greater.
so they're not the same, right?
Yeah.
So you can't just take 14 and divide it by 2 with the square root here. They're not the same.
Okay.
Okay, good. So let's talk a little bit. We got to go up to the side here and talk about rationalizing. So again, we'll just choose a really simple example here. Let's say it's 6 divided by the square root of 2. So rationalizing means no roots in the bottom. Do you see a root in the bottom?
Root in the bottom.
Yes. Do you see a root in the bottom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to undo that, we multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 2.
Okay. Okay.
What is the bottom? What is the square root of 2 times the square root of 2?
Okay. 6 for that. That is okay. So yes, okay. The 2 is greater than 1.41. So what you need to do is that for 6 multiply
Sarah, I'm asking, you're going off into another direction. I'm just asking for the bottom. Just asking for the bottom.
2 times 2. That is 2.
It's the square root of 4, which is 2.
Yes. Oh my god, this is a square root of 2 is so hard.
What is 6 divided by 2?
3.
So this becomes 3 square root 2.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so let's try another one here. What is 10 divided by the square root of 2? Now you have to rationalize. No roots are allowed in the bottom. No roots are allowed in the bottom. Okay, which means you're going to multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 2. Do you see that?
Yes. Yes.
So the top is 10 square root 2. What is the bottom? What is the
5
bottom?
square root of 2.
No, sorry, the bottom is.
That's the final answer.
Well, okay, that's fine. But if I'm asking for the intermediate step, you got to give me that.
Okay, divided by a square root of 4 equals 6. 10 square root. Yeah,
Okay, so do you have this down in your notes?
I'm gonna write that down.
Good.
Let me just give me some. Let me just
Take
have
a
my.
moment, right? I'll have you try one on your own here shortly.
Okay. Got it down.
Okay, so you ready to try one on your own?
Yeah.
All right, I want you to reduce this for me, please.
Okay.
How are you doing on this one?
Yes, I got the answer. 10 square root of 2.
All right, well done. We'll go ahead and end the lesson here. If your
Mhm.
dad wants to, we can have some dialogue, but that is